So, morning boys and girls, Grandpa Chris here. As you can see, I'm standing outside the gates of Diva Springs here in Hampshire on the most beautiful morning. This is the Springs Lake that we can see. Mist gently rising off the water and drifting towards the trees, like the spirits of long gone anglers. It's just so beautiful here this morning. Just so beautiful here. It's about 7:20 in the morning. I've still got a little bit of time to wait before the gate opens. It's time to sit back and absorb the atmosphere. Time to listen to the birds singing in the trees, the ducks quacking on the river. I'm watching a few the dorsal fin patterns as the fish move across the water. And yeah, it's going to be just such a beautiful day today. Okay, boys and girls, the gates have just opened, so we're driving around to the car park now. First chance to have a really good look at the lakes this morning. Just driving past Spring. The mist that was rising off the lake is still there to a little bit. Down and start on Spring this morning. We'll be coming up onto Willow in a moment. Go past these huge fat wood pigeons lining the road and welcoming us. Still got mist coming off of the Willow. There's a little bit of residue on the surface. Oh, seem to be quite a few fish moving around there, out in the middle. Anyway, boys and girls, welcome to Diva Springs. It's the 16th of September. And it's just going to be an absolutely fabulous day. And we have arrived. The camera's on. No swear words.
No worries. Did the battery last all day?
I've got a special clip.
I see. Oh, just a chat.
So, yeah, the internal batteries in these things, they don't last much more than about 40 minutes when you're filming, and they are what we call a pit to change. So if I'm carrying it, I've got a battery clip handle, isn't it? Well, there's a little bit of colour on it. Peter was saying it's got better over the last couple of days. So I'm going to put a little stalking bug on, and I'm going to go under the willow to start with. Yeah. In fact, if you want to come onto this one and just get underneath there, that's the inflow. That's the inflow there. And if you can just get it in underneath there, I'm going to go onto the gate swim and cast back in.
Good luck anyway.
Yeah. So it's just before 8 o'clock in the morning, and been joined today by a young guy whose name is James. He's come down from South Wales. He's fished here a few times. Just had a lovely chat with Peter Cockwill and got one of his signed books supporting his causes, and it's going to be a fascinating read. So quite a few fish in this corner at the moment. They're all of maybe the 5 or 6 pound range. You can see them moving around. So we have our first fish on, a little rainbow, Martin Williams copper stalking bug. He swarmed around it, went round and round it a few times, struck at it twice, second time round, just nailed him in the mouth. It's beautiful colours. And you can see him shaking, snapping his jaws, trying to shake the hook. Put the net ready. Not quite. And he's in the net. That's a nice start to the day. So there we go, boys and girls. Nice fish of maybe £5. So here we go. And there's the stalking bug in its mouth. That's really rather nice. That's a nice way to start the day. So we'll just put him onto the clips. And through the gill, out through the mouth. That's a bit better. And we have our prize. Always nice to start the day with a fish early on, so it makes you feel better. I don't know if that's a little rudd topping there or whether it's a trout. Just tweaking this stalking bug back through. It does seem strange casting a stalking bug, but it works. A couple of months ago they had a branch fall out of a big willow there. Somebody fishing here, the branch came down and missed the person by millimetres. They were very, very fortunate to survive. But what it has done is it's opened up the swim. And that which provided a lot of shelter for the fish is not there anymore, so it might have changed the whole nature of this swim. Now, I've fitted a new lens to my GoPro. It's a polarized lens, so something that was suggested to me by Luke. I know at the moment it's not going to make any difference because of the light conditions, but later on, as it does brighten up, it's going to be interesting to see what difference it makes to the quality of the video. At the moment, with the light conditions, it's just like looking at a mirror. You can't see. And we have fish on, fish off. Check the hook. Yeah, seems to be okay. That was a nice solid pull. Try that line again. As I said, at the moment it's just looking into a mirror. You're not actually able to see through. But as the sun comes up and the light gets into the water, it'll make a big difference. Let's check and see if there's any weed on the hook. Yes, there is. It's always worth checking your fly every second or third cast, just to see whether you have picked up anything. With these weighted flies, they are going to get down, and you'll always be pulling through weed. But there were 4 or 5 just milling around under your feet there. Yeah, they were just in that 10 or 12 feet area. I put a little stalking bug in front of them, like that. That's good, well done. It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see them now. How could you fall right?
Sorry?
How could you fall right glasses? How could you see that?
I've got a little copper and gold stalking bug on. I don't know what James has got one on. But
that's where you put that first one?
yeah, it was literally 6 feet in front. Saw it there, bobbed it, turned on it twice. He didn't fight. I don't think he realised he was hooked until it was too late. It's, from what Peter Cockwill was saying this morning, small and twitchy. Yeah. I think it probably just reflects certain parts of... Oh, he does. He's got the driest sense of humour of anybody I've ever spoken with. Isn't he ever?
I went to Alaska a few years ago.
Oh.
Have you been?
No, I haven't.
It's worth doing once.
Yeah.
I'd never do it again because it's not fishing.
I've got to get it past my bank manager first.
Yeah. But it's absolutely phenomenal. I had 110 salmon and 5 out. Biggest was 40 pounds.
They come into the rivers in such numbers, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. It was, as I say, it's not fishing. And of course, when you say to a proper salmon, I've had 110 salmon in a week, and he says, well, come and fish on the Tweed and see what's really right.
Yeah.
Oh well, we won't have to suddenly deal with this.
So, carry on, please, carry on. Second chuck of the day. Just put a little stalking bug right on the end of his nose, slashed at it and took it.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to start the day.
Where was that?
Just over on the gate swim there.
Yeah.
There's a few fish moving around over there. Yeah, we need to get a bit more light in the water. Yeah. There's just a little bit of an algae bloom this morning, which has clouded the water up a little bit. How are you? You okay?
Not bad, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. I'm out fishing, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. What did you catch on?
A little copper and gold stalking bug from Martin Williams. It was second chuck of the day, all I did was that, and he's snapped it.
Okay.
So over on the gateway swim there.
Yeah.
There's a few fish moving around, but
There's a few around there.
they're still a bit sort of dormant at the moment. It'll get better. Good morning, sir. So once again highlights the sociability of this beautiful sport. Got the little tributary of the Test over to my left, and it's maybe 6 inches of water in it. Shows the desperate need for rain. Good morning. I had this one on a little copper gold stalking bug. A copper and gold stalking bug, one of Martin Williams' flies. Second chuck of the day. I did that with the rod and he snapped it. So
Good fish?
not bad, not bad. He's about £4.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah.
I'm fishing at Damsel. Do you think that's good?
Yes, they work really, really well on here.
But with red fleck or?
As that is now, that will work. Anything with a little strike point on it. The further you can get over towards that tree, the better. Normally that swim there would be open, and that's where I'd be fishing, out into that little pool there. They come in, there's an inlet in there underneath that scum. I might even actually go and dabble in there for a few minutes, and they sit underneath there and in this bay, and they love it in here. If you don't catch today, then there'll be something very, very wrong.
Really?
Yeah. What's been working lately quite well as well is a buzzer underneath the bung. That's what I'm going to go and give a try up in that bottom corner at the moment. Just let it get it out there and just let it sit. And they patrol this area right up, and if you can get right up against the bank along here as well. I know there's a bit of grass showing at the moment,
Yeah,
but
it's quite.
yeah, but under a bung you don't get the same weeding problems.
Under a bung?
Yeah, a little indicator, a little foam indicator, something like that. 2 to 3 feet down, and just let it sit, and the fish will find it. And I tell you what, the takes are savage. This is a great corner, great corner. As I said, off of that little unofficial swim in there, just bounce something, a little stalking bug of some sort. Just bounce it underneath there.
Sorry?
Let me turn my box off. Just look at that. And that's simply magnificent. Okay, so come back underneath the willow on spring. It looks like willow is going to be unfishable today because of the weed. The grass is very close to the surface all the way around. So I'm actually quite fortunate because everybody else has moved on to this and they've left this one alone. So thank you very much indeed for that. I've put on a weighted blue flash damsel, another one of Martin's patterns from the Richard Francis range, so hopefully that will do the trick for me. A little bit of grass on it, so you take your fly on a fairly regular basis. It will keep you out of trouble. The wind blowing directly into this corner, casting will be awkward and it'll be tiring, but it'll certainly push the fish in this direction. So lots of little ruds skipping around on the surface just below my feet. And nice big trout just porpoised right in front of me. And we have a fish on. We have a fish on. So we have a nice rainbow on the line. See if I can scoop him in first time. Oh, no, he's got out. And he's in. Well, the net's all folded in on itself, which is why it was difficult. And there we are. We have a rainbow of about £5. Back in a second. And the damsel just fell right out of his mouth. He was only just in there. So there we go, boys and girls. Fish number 2. So we'll get the stringers. So that's number 2 on the stringer. Let's put this in the edge here, keep them nice and cool. Very nice too, with a little bit of a tidy up. So that's it, back in the water. That was a really nice surprise, pleasant surprise. And it was on a slow figure of 8. The blue flash damsel. It's got the 3mm tungsten head and the blue body. Again, one of Martin's new patterns, one that he's brought out for the start of the winter season. It's quite a nice take because the rod just went solid, the line just stopped. And as I've pulled into it, the fish has turned away, and it wasn't a particularly powerful struggle, but it still felt very nice on this 5-weight. The wind has dropped for a few moments, but I think it's in for the rest of the day. And they do say that the fish follow the wind, blowing straight into my face. And Mr. Cockwill on patrol. Oof. Mr. Cockwill, sir. Ooh, I've had a couple this morning. One on the second chuck. Oh, thank you. Very muchly appreciated.
Thank you.
One on the second chuck off of the gate swim there. One of Martin's little red stalking bugs.
Have you seen the blue or blues around?
He's just rolled me. Just gone over the top of my line there as I'm bringing that in. There's a couple of browns as well, been moving around as well.
Yeah, there's some huge browns in here that have been in here for months.
Yeah. It'd be nice to think one would take a shine to me.
It would, wouldn't it?
Because this is the rod that Andy Banting made for me.
Oh, right.
The 5-weight. And on the day that I got it out of the wrapper, I was stood there, third cast, bang, dorsal hooked a brown trout of just over £5. Which was all over the lake.
Wow.
It was, and I was doing an appraisal video for Andy and his rods. Couldn't have asked for a better start. And whilst I'm playing that, Andy's standing here playing a £9 rainbow.
Well,
and with 2 fish on the bank, and we hadn't been fishing 5 minutes. But have a little swing with it.
I don't know.
Well, on one occasion, I just happened to have picked up a bottle of Tennessee honey. And I was going to give it to a friend for his Christmas, and Dorji saw it on the front seat of my car. I'm stealing that, and he's taken it. He said, if you've got any spare stuff at home, I'm taking it. So I brought him a load of miniatures that I'd had for a long time, and I got a 3 days fishing out of having them.
Yeah, not bad.
So anyway, Peter, it's always a great pleasure to chat to you, sir.
I hope it goes well with your op.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting for a phone call this morning from the hospital to sort of tell me when I'm going in for the pre-op stuff. I've said that for the last 5 days. Initially they were talking about this coming Monday, but because of HNTQ, that's all been put on hold, so I really don't know when it's going to be done. So that's a priceless bit of video, that is. The legendary Peter Cockwill picking my rod up and having a cast with it. This is the 5-weight that Andy made me. I don't know that I'll ever be getting another rod out of the bag all the time I got this. It's just such a beautiful rod. And Peter's comment was it bombs the line out. And you get a comment like that from one of the world's greatest fly casters. Right, I've had another fly change. I've gone over onto almost a winter pattern. I've put one of Martin's white leeches on. As you know me, I don't like to do things by the book. Yeah. And I'm getting quite a few little plucks. That I just think I'm getting some plucks. I don't think they're actually sort of taking the fly. They're just... Yeah, he's hanging on. And he's in the net. Another one of similar size. 3.5 pounds. Very nice too. So I'll be back in a second. So there we go. That's the fly that it was taken on. One of Martin's winter patterns. There's a little white leech. Another fish of probably 3.5 pounds. So I've gone on to a black and green. Another one of Martin's flies. All a bit oddball, bearing in mind we're still pretty much in summer conditions. It's certainly been a fun couple of hours. The only thing is, I don't like driving all of that way for a couple of hours of fishing. I like to fish for at least as long as it took me to drive down here. I think what I might do in a few minutes is go off and have a cup of tea. The thing is, if I leave this successful swim, everybody else will be in there. Fish on. Fish on. This one seems to be a bit angry. This one seems to be a bit angry. Yeah, this one's having a good scrap. It's only a lot more feisty than the other three were. Okay, that's number 4. I'm finished, yeah. I'm finished, so you're welcome to dive in.
Right, I've not had a pull yet.
I'll give you the fly in a minute. That's been working.
Yeah, before I could even walk.
Right, so I've been fishing for 2 hours. I've got my 4 fish. I'm going to head off up for a cup of tea now and decide what I'm going to do. But they're all between the 3 and the 5 pound mark. So yeah, it's been very, very good. The last 3 I've had on winter patterns, on leeches. So maybe they are converting and they're starting to chase now. So yeah, all the small stuff might be going back in the cupboard. Right, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've got my 4. Everybody else has gone in for breakfast, which must mean it's 10 o'clock. So I'm going to go up and put these in the cool box, and I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. I don't want to get home too early, but there's plenty of things that I can be doing if I do go home. I can be editing the video for one. So, talk to you in a minute. Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll come and have a look at it, and then just turn away.
This blue was caught by a new friend of mine on a fly that I gave him. He was struggling, hadn't had a touch, and he's lost 2 and caught this one, and it's got to be nearing double figures. So yeah, absolutely fantastic result, and hopefully it highlights just how sociable our sport is. And
So this fish took all the fly line and about 10 meters of backing and went straight into the middle of the dam. It took ages to land, ages. It was such a strong, heavy fish on a light leader. Yeah.
yeah, what have you got on?
6 pounds.
6 pound. That's the absolute minimum for here. That's the absolute minimum. They prefer you to be at least 8. What's the rod?
It's a 5/6 weight.
Yeah, you don't need much more here.
But what was nice about that fish is that the rod was bending from here, literally from the cork. I can feel it bending off the cork.
You've got a nice one just moving in now. You've just gone over the top of him, so hopefully, as I said to you, they patrol this bay.
So what? Just let it drop. You just let it sink.
Let it go down till you feel it just about on the reed, and then just twitch it back over. I mean, there's 2 fish out there, both of them about 6 or 7 pound, and they're just sitting there.
This is better than mine. I mean, fuck it. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
I'm seeing trout. There's a shoal of rudd. You've got a 3 or 4 pound rainbow. You've got a fish that's just gone out of my sight line.
Stop glasses.
Right, you see that little bit of weed on the surface there?
Yeah.
About 20 out. You've got a trout right underneath that. Can you see it?
No. Those are polarized.
Can't see a thing. Can't see a thing with yours.
No.
The Fortis. The brand name is Fortis. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them in most fishing shops.
And they're the correct.
They're the ones that work for me. I can only tell you that they work for me. They were recommended to me by a guy called John Patton, who has so many world records in saltwater fishing.
He used to be in Aubrey, was he?
He's a Welshman.
Okay, no.
Yeah, he had two knee replacements done yesterday, and already he's itching to get back out. He's just got back from the tropics somewhere, where he was catching amberjacks of 130, 140 pound.
Oh shit! What did he use? Hardies? What's he using for those hardies?
He uses Penn.
Oh no.
And he's sponsored by Penn. He's a world record holder of 15 times over, I think he said.
My gosh.
His biggest fish was some sort of mangrove or some sort of jack, which was 375 kilos.
Graham.
You didn't want to put it up there.
I didn't want to put it up there, no. Oh, shit, I'm probably up.
Take your time, take your time. Don't use your rod. Bring it down and pull the line.
Right.
You will snap your rod.
Like that?
Yeah, you can do it like that, or actually take hold of the line. But unfortunately, these trees have got thousands of flies in.
I think this is gone. I think I'm in
You're not
trouble.
going to get it out. Just pull for a break and I'll give you another one.
What's that?
Pull for a break and I'll give you another one. You can pick something out the box.
Right.
Yeah, it's gone.
And I think that's a mess now as well. I think that's finished.
That's good. Now you change your position and come over and stand by this tree, and that will bring it right back over his head. You need to be quicker on your retrieve, otherwise it's going to go in the grass.
Watch this off there.
Yep. That's perfect. That's definitely going to cover him. And that one might be worth covering as well. Right, it's right on him. He's turning on it. No, he's turned away.
Why? What am I doing wrong?
He possibly saw the line. But try and cover that line where that fish is boiling, because he is patrolling. Get rid of that loose line. Put it back on your reel.
Yep.
That's enough.
I have two little ones, but
They'll do you.
yeah.
They'll do you.
So what's the? You hopefully you didn't give him any inside tips there anymore.
Absolutely. I even gave him the fly that he caught the fish on.
Oh wow! Well, he's very lucky. I've got this little thing on.
What's your leader? What strength is your leader?
It's the same as Graham's. It's the same setup in effect. So
I would be fishing this about that depth under an indicator, static.
Okay, now you're talking something that's a bit above my. So is that one of those little orange things that you stick on? Graham's
Where
friend.
are you from?
Originally from South Africa, but just outside London in Cobham.
Cobham.
Cobham,
Yeah,
yeah.
the proper part of London. Yeah, I know.
Nice area that.
Yeah.
So up
Yeah.
here for a day, beautiful, loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful water. There is some huge fish in here. What you don't want to do is catch the 30-pound pike that's in here. It has a tendency to grab
destroy.
He takes a fly, and
Oh,
he will
really?
destroy you. But there are trout left over from the winter stocking in excess of 20 pounds in here.
Well, maybe
Many trout well up in high double figures.
just out of interest. I mean, on my rig here, if I catch that, am I in? For
You
trouble?
could struggle on 6-pound line.
Okay. What's the tip thing? Just let it go.
With this, you keep a little bit of pressure on it. You let the rod do the work.
Okay. Just let
Okay.
him do whatever he
You're
wants
not
to do.
going like that, because
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to swear, and
Okay.
I'm not going to put that on my YouTube channel. But
Right.
yeah, just if you get into something really decent, just let the rod do the work.
Okay.
Doesn't get dark until about 7 o'clock,
Okay.
although the gate's shut at 5.
Okay.
Okay, give it a go.
Fantastic.
Give it a
well,
go.
Really looking forward to
Yeah,
it. Thank
try
you.
that. As
I
I
will
said,
do.
you've been seeing them just where the ripple
Yeah.
becomes opaque, so you've got the darker water. There's been fish have been moving around in there.
So
Get
do
that
this
just
little-
floating around in there.
Got you.
And then just sit back and wait for it to go as it goes.
And then,
You could get the rudd, the small fish, they might play with it. but
Yeah, I can see
you
that,
will
yeah.
know if it's a trout because the line will disappear, and it's when adrenaline turns brown.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Enjoy.
I'll keep that up.
And yes. Okay, so hi boys and girls, Grandpa Chris here. Come to the end of a fabulous morning here at Diva. I've got my 4 fish in the bag. I've just been hit in the head by an acorn. Well, hi boys and girls, Grandpa Chris here. Down here at Diva this morning, it's been an absolute pleasure. I got here just before 7 o'clock this morning. It was still dark. As I've watched the daybreak, the mist rising off the lake, sort of just wandering across the lake like the sort of ghosts of long gone anglers. I watched the birds and the swans on the lake, saw the fish porpoising, and lots of boils of fish. So I started the day off with one of Martin's copper and gold stalking bugs. I had a fish with my second chuck, bounced it in front of it and it slammed it. So it's just after 10:30 now. I've had my 4 fish. I've been chatting with a couple of guys from South Africa this morning. One of them you'll see, although you'll see them both on the video. You've got Graham, who I gave the winning fly to, and he's landed a double figure blue trout on that fly. So I had a lovely chat with him, and I've spoken with his mate Steve, given him some flies as well. Met a charming young man called James over from Wales, gave him the fly which caught his fish. It just exemplifies the sociability of our fabulous sport, to be able to meet people that you've not met before and help them and guide them away. A lovely chat with Peter Cockwill this morning. What a funny man, the driest sense of humour you've seen outside the Sahara Desert. Yeah, he was great. He gave me the advice. I followed the advice. I caught my fish. Towards the end of the morning I went over onto winter patterns, some of the leeches and the likes of that, and that's where I've had my success. So with the waters cooling down, I think the fish are starting to look towards the fry to fatten up for the new year. So yeah, Diva Springs is just the most beautiful place. The work that goes on here to keep it in absolutely pristine condition, you just cannot put into words just what an effort it takes. The main lake, Willow, they're struggling with the weed cut at the moment, but they've done a great job with that. Spring is quite clear. The weed hasn't really grown on to the same degree. Fish were a little bit finicky, plucking at the end. I mean, I don't know how many pulls I had. I could spend time counting up, but I don't think there's a point. So boys and girls, get down to Diva, have yourself some fun, support Tim and the team because they are absolutely fantastic. You'll be made to feel welcome. You can have a nice breakfast here which you order early on. Don't expect it to be easy. You'll have to work for your fish, but there is always a way. If the first fly you try doesn't work, don't worry about it. Put another one on, keep changing. What I noticed is the 2 South African guys were using only 6 pound tippet. Not enough, you need at least 8 pounds here, because if you do hook into one of the monsters that are still in the lake, it's going to smash you up and you're going to lose that fish of a lifetime and you're going to go home frustrated. So don't be scared to put 8 and 10 pound line on. I've had the 12 pound Grand Max line on, and it's never let me down. So it's well worth having a go. I'm going to be off the channel for a little while, off the water for a little while. You'll have heard of the saga that's been going on for a while with my shoulder. I'm hoping over the next 2 weeks to have my operation. They're going to be doing a full shoulder replacement joint and grafting some tissue in. So I'm not going to be able to do much before Christmas, maybe even into January. So just keep me in your thoughts, and just particularly knowing that I'm going to be having the worst withdrawal symptoms from fly fishing you'll ever come across. I'm going to be a right grouchy bear. So I'll see you when I get back on the water. I hope you enjoy the video, and tell your mates about Grandpa Chris's video channel. I'm up to 148 subscribers now. It'd be wonderful to hit the 150. So yeah, God bless you, boys and girls. Tight lines, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. God bless. Right, another thing I'd like to bring to your attention is this book by our friend Peter Cockwill. It's something that he's released earlier this year. And this morning Peter was very, very kind enough to autograph it especially for me. And it tells of his story. It tells his story of fly fishing and goes into many different aspects of fly fishing. It's a beautiful presentation. So I'm really looking forward to reading it. Talks all about the flies, the entomology of the places, and it's well worth having a little look at. £25. He will autograph it specially for you. So it's Peter Cockwill, fly fishing trout in the still water, in the small still waters. So I said £25 and very well worth the investment. So you can always tell him that Grandpa Chris told you about it. Put a smile on his face. And if he asks who Grandpa is, just mention elephant bird, and he will know who you're talking about. Cheers, tight lines.
Ahead, keep left.
So, boys and girls, Grandpa Chris heading home. It's 11:30 in the morning. I have 4 absolutely beautiful fish, which I've taken from the lake on my right, Spring Lake. It appears they're starting to chase winter patterns. I had 3 of them in rapid succession on leech patterns. Yeah, maybe sitting with tiny little flies on will be coming to an end fairly shortly. Had some lovely conversation with some amazing people today. It's been well worth the journey. So, not sure when I'm next going to be down here. It's going to be a while, for obvious reasons. So it pays to be a mind reader, doesn't it? No, I'm hoping to get the phone call later on today, or probably Tuesday now, telling me when I'm going in. We'll wait and see. And so many delays, I'm not going to fret and panic if it takes a little bit longer.
After 600 yards, turn left.
So wish me luck on the operation front, and I'll be back on the air as soon as I can. Grandpa Chris signing off.